never imagined I'd be the guy sitting here, typing out my story like some kind of cautionary tale. But here I am. My name's Jake, and my life took a nosedive just a few weeks ago, right before what I thought was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, my wedding day. Let me give you the background. I met Emily about 5 years ago. She was beautiful, smart, a little bitchy, but in a way that I found charming. She had this sharp tongue and an attitude that made her seem untouchable. I fell for it. We got serious, moved in together, and everyone said we were perfect. Well, I believe they were right, at least until the signs started to pop up. It all started subtly. At first, I noticed her phone buzzed more than usual, late-night texts, quick replies, and she'd get all defensive if I asked who it was. "Just my sister," she'd snap, rolling her eyes. But I knew better. Something felt off, and I told myself I was just paranoid. Then came the little lies about where she'd been. A quick dinner with friends, she'd say. A work thing, maybe a late meeting. But her stories didn't always add up. I started catching her in small lies, and that gnawing feeling of doubt crept in. The real cracks showed when I found her leaving her phone unlocked one night. I saw the messages she was hiding. Not just innocent chats, no, there were intimate, flirtatious ones, and worse. I saw her talking about plans, about sneaking around. It hit me like a freight train. The woman I was supposed to marry, the woman I loved, was cheating on me. Own brother, her brother. I stumbled onto a photo from a week before our wedding, her in his arms, smiling, looking so damn happy. That week, just days before I was supposed to say I do, she was out there cheating on me with someone I trusted more than anyone. I couldn't breathe for a minute. The world spun. I felt sick, betrayed, like I'd been hit with a sledgehammer. All those memories, all those moments I thought were ours, suddenly felt fake, like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I was furious, but mostly heartbroken. How could she? How could she lie to my face? I wanted to confront her immediately, but held back, knowing whatever she said next wouldn't be honest. So I waited for the right moment to get her to talk, to hear her explain herself. But I already knew the answer. She had been planning this, probably for a while. How could she do this to me, to my brother? That's a whole other story, but for now, I'll just say I felt like my entire life was collapsing under my feet. After I saw those photos and read those messages, I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My mind was racing, trying to process what I'd discovered. The girl I was supposed to marry, the woman I thought I knew, was out there lying, sneaking around with my brother just days before our wedding. I couldn't believe it. I kept thinking about all the times she'd acted weird, how she'd avoided certain questions, how she'd been more distant. Now I knew why. She'd been planning this betrayal for a while, and I was just too blind or too stupid to see it. That night I didn't sleep. I stayed up scrolling through her phone, looking for more evidence, more clues. Every message, every photo, every snippet of conversation left me feeling sicker. I couldn't understand how she could do this, how she could lie so blatantly. The worst part, she kept telling me she loved me, that she was excited to get married, that everything was fine. I remember the way she looked when she said those things, her fake smile, her little laugh. All of it now seemed like a lie. I was furious, but mostly I just felt so betrayed and stupid. The next day I decided I had to confront her. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I didn't want to yell or accuse her right away. I wanted the truth. So I called her into the living room, told her I needed to talk. Her eyes immediately narrowed, that bitchy smirk spreading across her face. She threw her head back and said, "What now, Jake? You're paranoid. You're imagining things." But I wasn't about to let her brush this off. I told her I knew everything about the texts, the photos, the lies. Her face froze for a second, and then she started lying like it was second nature. She said, "You don't understand, Jake. It was just sex. It meant nothing. It was a mistake, a one-time thing, I swear." Her voice was sharp, defensive, and she kept insisting she loved me and that it was just a fling, nothing serious. She looked at me with those cold eyes and told me I was overreacting, that I was being insecure, jealous, and that I needed to get over it. But I knew better. I saw the truth in her eyes. She was lying, and she was trying to gaslight me into doubt. I wanted to believe her, I really did, but I couldn't because I already knew she was a liar. That moment, standing there with her fake tears and her plastic apologies, I realized I was in something much darker than I had thought. Her reaction made me realize just how deep her deception went. She was the kind of girl who'd lie to save her skin, who'd twist everything to her advantage. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and confusion all at once. The love I had for her, or what I thought was love, was crumbling. I couldn't understand how she could be so callous, so ruthless. I felt like I was losing myself in that moment, like my whole world was collapsing in on me. I wanted to walk away, to get out of that house and never look back, but part of me wanted answers. I needed to know why she did it, how she could betray me like this, with my brother no less. That betrayal felt like a dagger straight through my heart, and I didn't even know how I was going to survive the fallout. The days that followed were a blur. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't focus on anything except the image of her and my brother together. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that photo, her smiling, him holding her, like they were the only two people that mattered. It was like a poison in my mind. I kept replaying the moment I found out over and over, trying to make sense of it all, but it only made me angrier. How could she be so callous? How could she lie to my face, act like everything was fine? I felt betrayed on a level I'd never experienced before. I started noticing little things that confirmed my suspicions. She'd get calls and immediately run to another room. She'd delete messages, hide her phone whenever I looked at her. She'd act like she was so busy, so stressed, that I thought maybe I was overreacting. But I knew better now. I knew she was hiding something. That feeling, that gut instinct, kept gnawing at me. I started to see her in a different light. The girl I fell in love with, the girl I trusted, was a liar, a manipulator. It was like waking up from a nightmare, but the nightmare was real. One afternoon, I decided I'd had enough. I needed to see her phone again, just to verify. I waited until she went out to run some errands, then I snuck into her purse. My heart pounded in my chest as I dug through her stuff, trying to stay calm. There it was, a message from her brother, just hours before she left that day, saying, "Can't wait to see you tonight. It's going to be perfect." My stomach sank. I saw a bunch of photos from their secret meetups. Her in his sweatshirt, him with his arm around her waist. Every image felt like a punch to the gut. When she came back, I knew I couldn't hide what I'd seen any longer. I confronted her again, this time more direct. I threw the phone on the table and said, "Explain this. Tell me what the hell is going on." Her face turned ghostly pale, but she kept her composure. "Jake, it's not what you think," she said, her voice trembling just a little. "That's just, I don't know, it's nothing. Just sex, remember, it doesn't mean anything." Her words were hollow, empty. She looked at me with that bitchy smirk and added, "You're overreacting, you're jealous, grow up." But I wasn't buying it anymore. I'd seen too much. The lies, the fake tears, the denial, it all pointed to one thing. She was a master at deception, and she'd been lying to my face for months. I felt so utterly betrayed, like I'd been played for a fool. The worst part, knowing she'd been sneaking around with my brother, someone I trusted. That was beyond betrayal, that was pure treachery. I wanted to scream, to hit something, but I just stood there, feeling numb, staring at her, trying to process how someone I loved could do this to me, to my family. It was like my entire world was crashing down, piece by piece. The next few days were a nightmare. I couldn't focus on anything. My mind kept circling back to what I had uncovered, how she had lied so effortlessly. Every memory I had of us together now felt tainted, like a fake version of a life I thought we shared. I kept asking myself if I had missed the signs, if I was blind to her manipulation. Honestly, I felt stupid for not seeing it sooner, for not noticing how cold she'd become, how distant, how sneaky. But mostly I felt rage. Rage at her betrayal, rage at my brother, and a deep, gnawing hurt that refused to go away. One morning, I finally decided I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I needed to confront my brother, even if it meant tearing my family apart. I called him up, voice trembling, trying to sound calm but failing miserably. I told him I knew what he did. I told him it was unforgivable. His excuse was pathetic. "It just happened, man. It was a mistake. She's a bitch and I was just drunk. You gotta understand." That made me even angrier. I couldn't believe he was trying to brush it off like some minor slip-up. That girl, my wife-to-be, the woman I loved, was cheating on me with my own brother, and he was acting like it was no big deal. I told him I wasn't interested in hearing his excuses. I told him that whatever this was, it was over. I was done with the both of them. I hung up feeling hollow, like a part of me had died. Then I called her again. I needed to see if she'd try to lie her way out of it again or if she'd finally admit what she'd done. She answered with that same bitchy tone, pretending to be innocent. "Jake, I told you it's nothing. Just sex, remember? You're blowing this way out of proportion." I lost it. I exploded, telling her she was a manipulative, selfish bitch and that I never wanted to see her again. I told her to pack her things, that I was done pretending she was innocent. That day, I packed her bags myself, found her clothes, and told her to leave. I didn't want her there anymore, not after everything. Seeing her walk out the door, her bitchy smirk replaced with a look of pure contempt, was one of the hardest moments of my life. I didn't cry, I was too angry, too broken. But I felt a strange sense of relief, too. Like I finally saw her true colors, and I didn't want to be around that kind of toxicity anymore. I knew I owed it to myself to move on, to rebuild what I could of my life. I started to realize that some betrayals cut so deep they change everything forever. But I also knew I deserved better than someone who would lie and cheat and lie again. The fallout was brutal. My friends and family were shocked, but some guessed it. My parents were disappointed, not just in her but in me for not seeing it earlier. My brother, well, the fallout there was even messier. We haven't spoken since, and honestly, I don't know if we ever will. All I know is that I've learned a hard lesson. Trust is fragile. People can hide their true selves behind a pretty smile and a false sense of innocence. And sometimes, the ones closest to you are the ones who hurt you the most. I'll never forget what happened, but I'm trying to move forward. It hurts like hell, but I've got to keep going. It's been a few weeks since I kicked her out, and honestly, I still feel like I'm in shock most days. Part of me keeps waiting for her to come back, to say she's sorry and that everything was a mistake. But I know that's not going to happen. The truth is, I've been trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what's next. Some days are better than others, but the pain of betrayal cuts deep. I keep asking myself how I missed the signs, how I didn't see that she was capable of this level of deception. I've started seeing a therapist, which has helped a little. Talking about everything openly, not holding it in, has been a relief. I've also been leaning on some friends, those who truly know me and have been supportive. Through all this, I've realized that I need to focus on myself now, rebuild my confidence, and figure out what I want from life without her. But it's tough. Every time I think I'm moving on, I get hit with a memory or a feeling of anger and sadness all over again. It's like I'm caught in a storm I can't control. One thing I've learned is that the betrayal wasn't just about her cheating on me. It was about her lying to my face, pretending everything was fine when she was out there playing with my brother. That kind of deception leaves scars. I also found out that she's been with other men before, not just my brother. She's a serial liar and cheat, and that makes me wonder how many other lies I never knew about. The trust I had in her is shattered completely, and honestly, I don't think I can ever get it back. My friends keep telling me I should be angry, and they're right. I am angry, but beneath that, there's a hollow sadness I can't shake. I keep thinking about all the plans we made, all the future stuff, the wedding, the house, the dreams, and how it's all gone now. I feel like I've lost a part of myself, like I don't even recognize the guy I was before all this happened. But I also know I have to rebuild. I have to find a way to move past this and not let her destroy who I am. That's what keeps me going, even when I want to give up. I just want to be happy again, but right now, that feels so far away. Looking back, I realize that this whole ordeal has changed me in ways I never expected. I used to trust easily, believed in love and loyalty, but now I see how people can hide their true colors behind a pretty face or a convincing lie. It's hard not to feel bitter sometimes, but I've learned to channel that anger into focusing on myself. I've started building a new life, one where I don't have to hide behind illusions anymore. I've come to accept that some betrayals are so deep, they leave permanent scars, but scars can also be reminders of how far I've come. The biggest lesson I've taken from all this is that I'm better off without someone who would lie and cheat, who would destroy the trust we built in the blink of an eye. I realize now that I deserve honesty, respect, and someone who truly values me. It's painful to admit that I was blind for so long, but I also know that I won't make that mistake again. I've learned to listen to my instincts, to trust myself more than anyone else. When I look at myself now, I see someone stronger, someone who survived something terrible but who is still standing. To anyone else going through something similar, I want to say this: don't ignore the signs. If you feel like something's off, pay attention. Sometimes your gut is right, even if the person you trust is telling you otherwise. And most importantly, don't stay in a situation where you're being lied to and manipulated. It's not worth it. You deserve better. Take your time to heal and don't rush into anything. Love yourself first, because if you don't, nobody else will do it for you. This experience has been brutal, but it's also been a wake-up call. I'm still hurting, still trying to put the pieces together, but I know someday I'll be okay, maybe even better than okay. I'll never forget what happened, but I refuse to let it define me. I'm choosing to move forward scarred, yes, but stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to find genuine happiness. And that's what I'll focus on now.